When it comes to preparation, how you really prepared? Maybe over a period of time, what was the proper routine, और आपने कैसे कैसे सब subjects को या proper test को कैसे bifurcate किया? How you really prepared?
SSB is not a preparation of a day, or it's not an exam. It's a personality test. It's about how you carry yourself.
There are times we perform really well, but there are chances कि वो आपको screen out कर सकते हैं. According to your experience, what are the key pointers which are very important?
हर टास्क आपको बेस्ट करना है. इफ आई डिवाइड 4 टास्क हैं, उसके अंदर OI के बाद एक आप पिक्चर कैसे लिख रहे हो, एक आपका नरेशन एंड देन द ग्रुप डिस्कशन. तो आपको इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करना है कि आपको किस एरिया में आपको और ज़्यादा वर्क करना है या यू आर फीलिंग लेस कॉन्फिडेंट.
There are times when you have some certain points to share, but repeaters group है तो ऐसे permit भी नहीं करते हैं. They do not let anybody speak, and there is a lot of fish market, what we generally say. How you really manage that thing?
You will have to practice either in front of a mirror or with a friend or in a group. Whatever the resource you have, whatever you feel good, you need to practice.
Any such behavior action that you have observed in any of that one task you feel like discussing कि यहाँ पे उस candidate की potential था, but just because he acted in such a way that has come up negative for him? Hi everyone, welcome back to Defense Roger, and I hope you're doing well. My name is Sheetal Yadav. In today's episode, we don't have only one, not two, but 3 outstanding candidates who not only got the recommendation through NCC special entry, but also got the top merit in the final merit list through this entry. Joining us is Digvijay Singh, 2 times recommended candidate who earned recommendation through AFCAT in NCC and secured All India Rank 9 in NCC special entry. We are also having Garv Sethi, who secured recommendation as a fresher and secured an impressive rank of All India Rank 19. And finally, Gagandeep, 3-time recommended candidate with recommendation from AFCAT, CDS, NCC special entry, who went on to secure All India Rank 6. What makes this discussion even more special is that all 3 candidates are from LWS, and both Digvijay and Gagandeep has served as a coordinator, mentoring and guiding numerous aspirants throughout their journey. They not only worked on their personality, but also played a vital role in helping others to grow. In this conversation, we dive deep into the mindset of a fresher, lesson learned from the multiple attempts, and the journey behind earning multiple recommendations, and what it takes to secure the top rank in the highly competitive entry like NCC special entry. If you're preparing for SSB or NCC special entry, this episode is packed with insights you won't want to miss. I hope you find value from this episode. Without any further delay, let's get back to the video. Thank you so much for joining me, Digvijay, Gagandeep and Garv, for this podcast, because when even going through your profile and the kind of experiences you had, you have a vast experience, whether getting multiple recommendation or recommendation in the first attempt, working in NGO, or working simultaneously while preparing for SSP or the written in as well as for other entries. So I do believe कि जो ये discussion है काफी ज़्यादा informative होने वाला है, and I'm really grateful to Sumit sir and Vikas sir for this thing, because I'm getting good candidates and I'm getting a chance to experiment on such scenario. So thank you so much for joining me here, and congratulations on getting recommended and about to join the OT training.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Our pleasure.
Well, it's indeed my pleasure indeed. I also want to know, before I start discussing about कि कैसे आपकी journey रही है या किस तरह के experience थे या क्या strategy थी, I want to know about you. How you prepared? What was your journey? आप कहाँ से belong करते हैं? कितने attempt लगे? And if there is any specific thing you want to highlight in NCC, what you have done there? किस तरह के experiences रहे? किस तरह के camps आपने करे? And कितने attempt आपने दिए और कौन से attempt में आपको recommendation मिले?
Okay, ma'am. My name is Digvijay Singh Shekhawat. I am from Jaipur, Rajasthan. And ma'am, I have done my schooling from St. Xavier School, Jaipur itself. And ma'am, I was a swimmer since my childhood. I'm swimming from last 13 years. Ma'am, as I was sportsman, I was more inculcated toward different activities. That's why I also joined NCC.
Wow.
When I joined, ma'am, I saw Forge from a close perspective there. उससे पहले मुझे कुछ पता नहीं था, because I come completely from a civilian background. But when I joined it, I enjoyed it a lot. I had done around 30 camps in my NCC tenure. My NCC tenure started from A wing for 2 years during my school tenure, then 3 years from my army wing during my college tenure, ma'am. And I did RDC twice in 2019 and 2023. And I also got opportunity to represent India NCC in youth exchange program to St. Petersburg, Russia, ma'am.
वाओ, ओके। आपने कितने अटेम्प्ट दिए और कौन से अटेम्प्ट में रिकमेंडेशन मिला?
Man, I gave 3 attempts, and in my first attempt, I got confidence out from 18 SSB Allahabad, and then I wrote AFCAT 125, in which I got my recommendation, first recommendation, in my second attempt, in which I got AR 153, and now I got my third in my third attempt, I got my recommendation for the army from 20 SSB Bhopal, ma'am, and now I'll be joining OTA Chennai, ma'am, for April course.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Gagandeep. I'm from Chambal district in Western UP. I have studied in Motilal Nehru School of Sports. I did schooling there in a boarding school for 9 years. It was a sports school, and I was so young when I joined it in fourth class. I have been actively participated in different sports and professionally played athletics at state level and rope skipping at national level. There, I also participated in NCC for junior wing in army. After that, I took admission in Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College in Delhi University, in where I took admission in BA with economics and mathematics.
Okay.
I continued with NCC in my college. I haven't done much national camps as I was more into studies and my focus was more on the written examinations. And I have also been part of the NGO during my school time, sorry, college time. And I have given 9 SSB attempts, out of which I was 5 times screen out, 1 time conference out, and 3 times recommended. First, I was recommended for Series 2 2024 for Air Force, in which I secured All India rank 22. After that, I was recommended for FCAT 2 to 2025, for which I'm awaiting for merit. And I was also recommended for NCC direct entry, in which I secured All India rank 3 and now going to join academy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Garv Sethi. I'm from Chennai, Tamil Nadu. I've done my education from Kendra Vidyalaya, IIT Chennai. And further, I did my BCom specialization in corporate secretaryship from RKM Vivekananda College, which is in Chennai as well. During my college, I did NCC and I was part of various other activity clubs and department associations where we organized events, international conferences, national seminars. So I had an overall exposure of utilizing the opportunities whichever I got. I have done internships in various domains, so definitely those experience helped me secure a good job in the corporate as well. And I have a experience of around 10 months. And yes, this gave me a confidence and a way where I could excel my SSB. And with respect to camps, I have done 4 or 5 camps in NCC, but then my more focus was on the overall development. With respect to sports, I'm an under 14 state level swimmer. I've made sure whatever opportunity I've got, I've utilized it. This made me get my first recommendation in my very first attempt from 19 SSB Allahabad. And I'm joining OTA Chennai for the April 2026 course.
I mean, so much of different exposure in coming from a very different places and background. I mean, it becomes it becomes very different feeling for me to analyze and किस तरह से आप लोगों ने आपकी जर्नी रही है और आपने एनसीसी स्पेशल एंट्री से रिकमेंडेशन लिया because my main emphasis is going to be on that entry. Since we are going to talk about NCC special entry, I want to talk about what kind of competition is there. Because in current scenario, if you ask me 2 years back, there used to be vacant seats. पूरी सीट भी ढंग से नहीं भरते थे और आपका जो सिनेरियो है बहुत ज़्यादा रिकमेंडेशन है तो आज के टाइम पे कितना रिकमेंडेशन रेट चल रहा है, किस तरह के कैडेट्स आ रहे हैं, किस तरह का वैकेंसीज आ रही हैं और इफ़ यू सी और सबऑर्डिनेट जब आप एसएसबी जाते हो तो किस तरह की कैंडिडेट्स अपीयर कर रहे हैं, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ बैकग्राउंड दे आर कमिंग फॉर. सो और इफ देयर इज समथिंग और द अदर विच इज़ इंपॉर्टेंट टू बी नोन फॉर समबडी हु इज गोइंग फॉर द फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट और उसको पता होना चाहिए एनसीसी स्पेशल एंट्री के रिगार्डिंग, whether it's the eligibility criteria, vacancies, or any other thing, please highlight that.
The screening process in NCC for me was something different. Yeah, the ratio was similar. But then what I felt is how you present yourself as a fresher, because I come with a perspective of fresher. I don't know how it works with the repeaters and previously recommended people. But the cadets who are going fresh, I did not face much of issue. There's an instance that, yes, you'll be able to make it. There are a few things which you follow and you clear the screening?
Ma'am, I'll say one thing that candidates who think कि अगर हमने national level camp नहीं किया है, so now NCC entry will be difficult for us. Many candidates were there who got recommended with only 2-3 camps. So this is a myth कि अगर आपने NCC में ज़्यादा camps करे हैं, तो आपको NCC entry में benefit मिलेगा. वहाँ पे qualities matter करती हैं. Yes, screening process is difficult. तो अगर ज़्यादा amount में candidates आ रहे हैं, तो उसका जो screening होकर जो अंदर candidates बचे हैं, तो वो भी quality काफी better है. If we see when I went for my written entry for my FCAT, मैंने थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस फील किया जो कि एनसीसी कैडेट्स में जो एनसीसी कैडेट्स स्क्रीन इन हो गया है, दे आर वेरी क्वाइट कॉन्फिडेंट. तो हाँ, थोड़ा सा प्रोसेस थोड़ा सा और चैलेंजिंग हो जाता है एनसीसी एंट्री में. स्क्रीनिंग का प्रोसेस तो है ही, साथ ही साथ एसएसबी का भी उसके अंदर. एंड यस, ये एक मिथ है कि अगर आपने कैंप आपने कम करे तो आप नहीं हो सकते, और ज्यादा कैंप करे तो आपको बेनिफिट है. यस, कुछ क्वालिटीज आप उसमें इनकलकेट करोगे ड्यूरिंग योर कैंप्स, बट आपको उसको एक्सप्रेस करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इन योर एसएसबी, स्पेशली इन एनसीसी एंट्रीज. अगर आप जा रहे हो तो आपको एनसीसी से रिलेटेड जो भी आपने एनसीसी कैंप से आपने क्वालिटीज इनकलकेट की है, वो आपको एनसीसी एंट्री में दिखानी बहुत जरूरी है.
One more thing, Digvijay, what about the vacancies and the number of recommendation? Because कहीं ना कहीं ये proportion काफी ज्यादा impactful होता है, एक एक candidate का rank इधर उधर and your merit in merit out. So what's the scenario regarding this?
Earlier it was 45 plus 5 for general men entries, and it was, I believe, 4 plus 1 for female entries. And now it has changed. It is 63 for men general entries and 7 plus 7 for wards of battle casualty. Earlier it was 45 plus 5 wards of battle casualty. Now it is 63 plus 7. So the count is 70. Generally, the vacancies for the candidates who come for wards of battle casualty वो फिल नहीं होती हैं. तो मैक्सिमम 1 या 2 कैंडिडेट उधर से फिल होते हैं, तो वो भी एनसीसी एंट्री को मिल जाती हैं. तो व्हाट आई बिलीव वी हैव अराउंड 68 to 70 एंट्रीज, 68 to 70 वैकेंसीज फॉर एनसीसी एंट्री.
Okay.
और उसके अंदर भी इफ वी सी आफ्टर मेडिकली कुछ प्रोसेस होता है, अगर वो भी हो जाए, कुछ डॉक्यूमेंटेशन का इशू कम्स, तो अराउंड जॉइनिंग लेटर जनरली अराउंड 80 रैंक तक भी आ जाता है.
Okay.
अच्छा,
You know, अभी हमने एनसीसी स्पेशल एंट्री को डिस्कस किया, बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, व्हेन इट कम्स टू प्रिपरेशन, it is completely a different ball game. Whatever you have learned through your NCC experiences, when it comes to preparation, how you really prepared, maybe over a period of time, you know, what was the proper routine, और आपने कैसे कैसे सब subjects को या proper test को कैसे bifurcate किया, how you really prepared? Did you take any coaching, or is coaching recommendable according to your experience? And what is the right time, if yes, कि शुरू में चले जाना चाहिए, या in the middle of preparation, or in the end somebody should go, or after a couple of attempts, what should be the right time? Apart from that, I really want to highlight the routine, because some way or the other preparation में routine काफी matter करता है. And job should be the priority after your graduation if somebody is doing, because आप तीनों ही working थे, तो मुझे कहीं ना कहीं वो भी जानना है कि job help करती है कि नहीं करती है preparation में, और in the SSB. So what are all these factors and how you really prepared for the SSB?
Ma'am, as Digvijay mentioned, that it's about how you express those qualities. So it's necessary that SSB is not a preparation of a day, or it's not an exam. It's a personality test. It's about how you carry yourself over a period of time. You might learn something from the camps that you have to do this, you have to do that. This is the process. This is the way you react to things. But until and unless you don't apply it in your real life, in real case scenarios, organize events, jump into some sports where you can actually explore a lot of things, where you can adapt a lot of qualities. Unless and until you don't do it, actually, it's not something which will reflect on your all the 3 components of SSB, which are psych, GTO, and interview. Also, with respect to the job part, because I have a diverse experience in a very small period of time. I just worked for 10 months, and I have experience in, with respect to my internships and my work experience, I have experience in almost every field of commerce. I would say that the particular experience won't help you, but it gives a push to your profile. It has an impact on your profile. It boosts confidence. You'll have a group of friends, because SSB, I believe, is, in my perspective, in my opinion, it's about having a group of friends, executing an activity, interacting with others, traveling a lot. It's something which is more lively. which needs cheerfulness. So having a job would make you do multitasking, because you would have done multitasking during college days, NCC, sports, internships. I did all these, so it was a hustle for me. But when I came out of college, I did not have a lot of things to do. So I had to join an NGO, I had to work. Then during my work, also, I did a lot of other activities, organizing events there. So it was something which I enjoyed the SSB process. And with respect to the coaching part, yes, I would say as a fresher, you can go for coaching. You definitely need guidance. It's better to have guidance than going raw. They say that you should not practice a lot of psychology tests and things that way. But I would say you have an idea of how to express your qualities, because candidates lack in that. They have a very good thought process, but while communicating, they are not able to fulfill those AOLQs. You might, I've heard that people get recommended and take a lot of attempts. But when I heard about the SSB process, I did go for coaching. When I went for coaching at LWS, I understood that it's more important to express than having those qualities, because if you have those qualities, आप रख के कुछ कर नहीं सकते. जब तक आप express नहीं करोगे, जब तक you'll not put it on the paper, you will not be able to communicate that how worthy you are.
Okay.
So this is what I would say with respect to the process of SSB, and I thoroughly enjoyed my preparation, and it gave me an immense confidence, and I became very much creative
Okay.
because of the process of SSB.
What about management, time management, Garv? Because kahin na kahin when you were preparing, let's suppose you have taken a college, you have taken a coaching, but again you have to get back to your job as well. तो जब LW से जो भी आपने सीखा ठीक है, बट उसके बाद आपने उनको इम्प्लीमेंट प्रैक्टिस या इंट्रोस्पेक्शन जो हम काफी बार चीजें डिस्कस करते हैं, उनको आपने कैसे डे टू डे लाइफ में इम्प्लीमेंट किया? आई मीन हाउ यू यूज्ड टू मैनेज दैट?
I had very less gap after I came from coaching and my SSB, but I had already started the preparation. My preparation like 4-5 months पहले start कर दी थी, even before my shortlisting game. Because I was more focused on NCC entry, because my written entries were exhausted with respect to the time constraint. I was not able to make it into the written entries. I couldn't clear exams. So I had this thing that I have one NCC entry and I should make it in this. So the process started 4-5 months back, where I started practicing. Before going to the coaching, I had already taken up mocks online, and I had started implementing those things in my coaching. And especially I'm from down south, like my brought up is in down south, so I was not aware of the weather condition at Prayagraj. So going to LWS was one of the reasons that I'll be able to adapt to the weather, and I'll be more focused. So during LWS, I knew that I just have like 20 days for my SSB, and I have to learn, I have to polish my qualities, and I have to better express it so that I am able to make it. And when I came back, yes, there were a lot of changes in me. Yes, coaching gives an impact, but it's about your inner qualities. It's about the process, the mentors you get, the journey you have. So it's just not about those 15 days or 21-day program, whatever it is. It's about how you carry yourself throughout your NCC and how you develop those qualities. And basically, coaching will help you express it. That how you can show it in GTO, how you can show it in the psych tests, or probably in the interview. But unless and until you don't have it in yourself, those qualities will not be able to actually express it out.
गगन, आपका जो एक्सपीरियंस है, व्हेन आई एज आई मेंशन्ड, यू हैव गॉट 3 रिकमेंडेशन एंड सीडीएस एएफए के रिगार्डिंग, तो कई बार तो बच्चे रिटन क्लियर कट ऑफ क्लियर नहीं कर पाते हैं, और कर लेते हैं तो एसएसबी तो मतलब इट्स लिटिल टफ. सो हाउ यू रियली प्रिपेयर, बिकॉज इनिशियली यू आर गेटिंग बैक टू बैक स्क्रीन आउट्स एंड देन बैक टू बैक रिकमेंडेशन. तो व्हाट हैज रियली चेंज्ड इन योर प्रिपरेशन? बिकॉज आई एम श्योर कि लर्निंग्स काफ़ी सारे लोगों के पास है, बट उनको इम्प्लीमेंट करके अपने आप को राइट प्रूफ करना या राइट एक्ट करना एसएसबी के टाइम पे, वो काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो व्हाट वाज द गेम चेंजर फॉर यू इन योर प्रिपरेशन?
Yes, ma'am. As both of them has mentioned most of the points, I would like to add, हम कैसे अपनी लाइफ को कैरी ओवर करते हैं, that will be for sure reflect होगा हमारे इंटरव्यू में. I haven't done national camps. I have do only two CATC camps. and because I was more into studies, I was preparing for the written entries. Most my main focus was written entries, and for that I did the coaching for the written part, and then for the SSB also, I took the coaching from the LWS. I was 4 times screen out when I went to the LWS. I had been I had all those experiences during my school time, but I was not able to express them. And as both of them has already mentioned, what I learned in the coaching for the SSB is how to express those qualities during that process. मतलब हम ग्रुप डायनेमिक्स में कैसे काम करना है, how to really practically कैसे we can show to the assessors. This we will learn in the process of 15 days, 20 days in the coaching. That can help in the expressing in the how do we express, that can be learned well with the friends and in the coaching. As you have mentioned कि हम जब सब कर चुके होते हैं and then we are preparing. For that you will have to maintain the discipline you have learned in your life, whether through the NCC or through school or किसी और experience से जो भी जो क्वालिटीज आपने सीखी हैं, लाइक डिसिप्लिन, टाइम मैनेजमेंट, यू विल हैव टू apply those qualities in your daily life every day. My routine used to be, I used to go for running early morning, then long study hours, then lunch break. I also included the hobbies of mine like cycling, listening podcast in my regular daily routine. Those qualities which you have learned, you will have to apply them in the during the preparation as well. क्योंकि खाली पढ़ाई पढ़ाई करके we cannot only study for the whole day. Also, I would like to add कि कोई hobby that you would like to mention, कोई quality that you would like to add on, you will have to work on that instead of just to write in a PIQ. Do it for month, 2 months, 3 months, and inculcate it. If I have an example for it, one of my friend wanted to add on about the startup in his PYQ, and so he worked with his friend on that startup for 2 months. He learned about it, he did it, and he mentioned it. Then he mentioned it in PIQ. So with that, he not only have had experience, but he also expressed it well in during the interview. So the qualities or the hobbies, strengths and weaknesses that you want to remove or want to add on, you will have to have experience of that. Then only you can express it. You can well represent them. That's what I wanted to add.
Okay. Since we have talked how we prepared when it comes to SSB, so like Gar went for the first attempt and you have multiple attempts. So there is the same scenario, like a huge bunch of people is there. If there is 150 candidates are there, वो भी काफी ज़्यादा होता है. And if you turn around, there are so many people properly dressed up going for the SSB. And when it comes to the performance, I feel like screening is very weak process because you never know for what reason they have screened in you. And there are times we perform really well, but there are chances कि वो आपको screen out कर सकता है. According to your experience, what are the key pointers which are very important or they can contribute in somebody's screening in a very positive way from your learnings and from the things that you have, slowly inculcated while going for the screening test, or you have heard and that has really been effective during the screening process? Is there anything you want to highlight when it comes to screening test?
Ma'am, the screening process in NCC, ma'am, first of all, अगर भीड़ बहुत ज्यादा आ रही है बाकी एंट्री से, तो आपको किसी भी टास्क को छोड़ना नहीं है. तो वही आपको हर टास्क इंपॉर्टेंट है, हर टास्क आपको बेस्ट करना है. इफ आई डिवाइड 4 टास्क हैं, उसके अंदर OIR के बाद एक आप पिक्चर कैसे लिख रहे हो, एक आपका नरेशन, एंड देन द ग्रुप डिस्कशन. तो आपको इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करना है कि आपको किस एरिया में आपको और ज्यादा वर्क करना है, या यू आर फीलिंग लेस कॉन्फिडेंट. तो उसके अंदर भी हाउ NCC कैन हेल्प. एज गगनदीप इज माई फ्रेंड, ही वाज आल्सो इन NCC. हमारा अगर हमें नरेशन इंप्रूव करना है, तो अगर गगनदीप का स्टोरी बहुत अच्छा है, तो मैं गगनदीप के साथ प्रैक्टिस करता. ओके, ये स्टोरी आ रही है, ये पिक्चर आ रही है, तो अब इसका व्हाट इज योर POV और मैं किस तरह सोच रहा हूँ. So he'll help me in writing story part, and he'll help me in group discussion. If I have good narration, I did many anchoring in my NCC. I had good narration, तो मैं उसको उसमें हेल्प करूंगा. तो NCC के अंदर ये भी अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि you make a lot of friends, that too in a very positive way. So I would like to प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द सेम फील्ड,
Right.
जो कि बाकी एंट्रीज के अंदर या बाकी डायरेक्ट अगर कोई जा रहा है उनको अपॉर्चुनिटी ही नहीं मिलेगी। तो ऐसे ही स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस है, उसके अंदर मैंने ऐसे प्रिपेयर किया था कि ठीक है, अगर मुझे स्टोरीज में इशू आ रहा है, गगनदीप विल हेल्प मी इन नरेशन पार्ट, ही यूज्ड टू शेयर वीडियोस विद मी एंड वी यूज्ड टू प्रिपेयर टुगेदर। हम आपस में एक दूसरे नरेशन प्रैक्टिस करते थे एंड इट एक्चुअली हैपेंड इन आवर रियल एसएसबी आल्सो। वी वर टुगेदर इन दिस सेम स्क्रीनिंग ग्रुप। तो देयर बिफोर गोइंग इन, गगनदीप ने मुझे 4-5 बार नरेशन दिया, मैंने गगनदीप को दिया। व्हेन वी वेंट इनसाइड, हमने अच्छे से नरेशन कर दिया। ग्रुप डिस्कशन के अंदर आल्सो वी डिड गुड एंड both of us got screened in.
Right.
Because as a fresher, what I feel is the way you carry yourself on day one, whether you wear a tie, your shoes polished, बिल्कुल चमकना चाहिए. So that really matters because it's about how you are showing yourself on day one. The first impression is the last impression.
I'll just highlight few points which I feel like that should be there in the screening test. Firstly, OIR में negative marking नहीं है, so attempt all of them. Even time रह जाता है. Sometimes they say they are giving certain amount of time, but they take it little prior. So it's always good कि 4-5 भी रह गए तो fill it up. This since there is no negative marking and practice as well because at last OIR की rating आपके PI की form में रहती है, तो it do take a lot of weightage. Secondly, whatever story you're making, whatever you are writing, firstly listen the instruction very clearly. Maybe you have gone to some certain coaching, they have said mention you कि circle करो या इनको ऐसे label करो, but they in every SSB they slightly change a little corrections कर देते हैं just to check the presence of mind. So do listen the whatever instructions are given to you. Third, whatever you are writing, there should be no cutting over writing because at last it's deflect your personality. So इतना practice करो कि इतना neatly लिखा जाए और कुछ cutting and over writing ना हो. Like you said, story जो भी आपका है, do not listen to anybody else story because at that time you need to revise and mug up your own story very clearly. जब group में चीजें discussion शुरू होती है तो nervousness little bit it pumps. So somehow or the other it's always good कि आप अपनी story को इतना revise कर लो ताकि आपकी बारी आए तो you don't fumble or you don't feel like you're lag behind. And do not discuss your story, do not listen or do not see anybody else's story because उस टाइम पे खुद पे भरोसा करना सबसे important है. And when it comes to when you're sitting in U shape and जब आपके सामने SSS बैठे, do not look at them. Whatever you're narrating, have a smile on your face and voice modulation and एक अच्छी pitch हो जिससे आपकी बातें सब लोग ध्यान से सुने and look like a officer because at last proper haircut is needed and dress should be properly ironed because your presentation do impact छोटी छोटी चीजें आपकी सिलेक्शन में हेल्प कर सकती हैं. एंड देन ऑलवेज कीप ऑन ट्राइंग. जीडी के अंदर अगर चांस नहीं भी मिल रहा है तो कोशिश करते रहो. मे बी एटलीस्ट यू कैन ट्राई. एंड अगर वो ड्रॉप आज के पहले तो मिल जाता था कि लिटिल बिट ऑफ ड्रॉप ऑफ साइलेंस की जब आप अपनी एंट्री कर सकते हो, बट एवरीबडी इज वेटिंग फॉर दैट ड्रॉप ऑफ साइलेंस. सो आई डोंट थिंक सो कि वहाँ पे ऐसा चांस मिलेगा. तो इट्स ऑलवेज गुड कि कीप ऑन ट्राइंग एंड इफ यू आर इवन ट्राइंग टू मेक वैलिड पॉइंट्स and agree to it, do not agree because do not disagree to whatever discussion which is happening ताकि उस टाइम पे आपका contributing factor लगे ना कि destructive that you are keeping that group apart. And rest it all depends on the group and the SSs also what they have assessed about you. When it comes to psych test, it's completely a different ball game because some way or the other you do not meet the SSs, especially psychologist. You don't know on what basis they are going to assess. And आपने especially गगनदीप आपने इतने attempt के बाद जो आपकी learnings रही हैं, you were also a coordinator, you have interacted with lot of students and Digvijay you as well. And Garv, like you were a fresher, so you were already clear with that mindset कि क्या चीजें करनी चाहिए psych के अंदर because there are very small detailings that you add in your TAT story or VAT or SRT which I do feel like जो काफी attempts के बाद लोग सीखते हैं या they do not get to analyze also कि ये गलतियां भी कभी मतलब they do not consider कि ये चीजें हम गलत कर रहे थे. So any learning in the psych test or anything that has really helped you to improve your psychological test, kindly mention it and what are the things or tips you want to give so that they can perform better in psych test.
Yes, ma'am. For psych test, as I had mentioned कि जो life experience हमारा जैसा रहता है, it is very natural कि हमारी stories वैसी निकल के आए, and it is practical as well कि हमें वैसी ही story लिखनी चाहिए because it जो आपका PYQ है उससे मैच करता है and it shows the assessor कि जैसा आप सीख के आए हो वैसा ही आप show कर पा रहे हैं. So if you will have good experiences, you will write good stories. Or if you do not have an experience, then experience it. Like मैंने पहले mention किया कि मेरी ज्यादातर साइक की stories used to be around organization, sports, and NCC, and this part used to be the significant one in my TED portion, story लिखने के अंदर.
Okay.
So जो आपने एक्सपीरियंस किया है वही आप शो करोगे तो you will have good better actions. उन्हें जल्दी ही आप लिख पाएंगे. मतलब द स्टोरी के अंदर साइट में स्टोरी लिखते हुए द प्रॉब्लम यूज टू बी कि एक्शन तो सब कॉमन वाला सोच लेते हैं कि दिस शुड बी द स्टोरी अराउंड इट, बट हाउ डू दे राइट द एक्शन कि अगला एक्शन क्या आएगा, इससे नेक्स्ट क्या आएगा, व्हाट कैन वी डू फॉर दिस. सो एक्शन पोर्शन जो होता है वो छोटा हो जाता है, एंड द एक्शन पोर्शन शोज द क्वालिटीज टू द साइकोलॉजिस्ट. और वो जब आप एक्सपीरियंस के थ्रू लिखेंगे तो यू विल हैव मोर एक्शंस और वो जल्दी लिख पाएंगे. एंड द राइटिंग शुड बी नीट एंड क्लीन एज यू हैव मेंशन. एंड उसके साथ साथ आपको जल्दी लिखना पड़ेगा. यू हैव जस्ट 4 minutes. यूजुअली ऐसा होता है कि टेट की स्टोरीज कंप्लीट नहीं हो पाती, बट टेट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट इन दी साइक टेस्ट. एज आई वाज टोल्ड कि अराउंड 80% असेसमेंट टेट से हो जाता है for the psychology, and in that you cannot afford to write half story या फिर you miss a complete story. You cannot afford it, so you will have to write fast. You will have to add more actions. अगर कम एक्शंस लिखे you might get recommended, लेकिन अगर आपको मेरिट इन होना है and you want to score good marks, then you will for sure have to write down more actions. वेट के अंदर you need to write short sentences, usually 3-4 word का, and that to be जो experiential sentences होते हैं, that you need to write. And if you would have missed some word, then and you are getting a time to writing it down, तो पहले से word लिख के छोड़ दो, and you are getting a time, come back to it, write it down. एंड अगर कोई वर्ड ऐसा आ गया है जहाँ पे आप सेंटेंस नहीं लिख पा रहे हैं, देन राइट इट टू बी इन अ शुड फॉर्म, और या फिर फैक्चुअल उसमें भी यू कैन मेंशन इट, बट do not miss any word. Write it down. For the SRTs you need to write very short and crisp reactions. You need not to write in a lengthy form. So and should you just write the action part instead of writing the complete sentence. And for the SD self description portion, you need to prepare it according to the PIQ के according अपना self description prepare करेंगे, then it will show in the TET as well. तो TET से जब self description match होगा, then you will score a good marks.
Okay.
Yes.
With respect to the TAT and the other psychology tests, psychology test was the most favorite part of mine in the whole SSB process. And I would say that as a fresher, I have heard these myths that you should not practice psych, you should not tamper your psych. But what I would say is a fresher should definitely practice psych. He should have a fairly good number of ideas, stories before he goes to the board. He should have a open-minded ideology that कुछ भी पिक्चर आए मैं एक स्टोरी बना सकता हूँ. वहां जाके बैठ के सोचने का टाइम नहीं होगा. When you get those 30 seconds, your mind should click with the next idea. So you should have fairly good number of ideas, and around 40-50 ideas, and how do you execute them with actions, you should know. And now coming to the main part which I wanted to talk about is the psych interview. So mainly my dossier was openly checked in front of me, and there were a lot of other aspects which I figured out would be necessary to say. Is that definitely, as rightly pointed by Gagan, doing maximum number of watts, like a complete number of watts, and SRTs, which I felt were, I did around 50 SRTs, and the rest 10 SRTs, the assessor made me solved in front of him. He asked me those questions and I had to reply. So what I figured out is they're looking for something logical actions in the SRTs. In that, they're looking for something which is different, which, for example, I play instruments and there's a word creativity. So I wrote something about tabla. So they're looking for something which is in yourself. It's not about something extra. तो कुछ extra करने की जरूरत नहीं है. It's just about polishing yourself. And with respect to TAT, as I mentioned, I loved writing stories. So in TAT, मुझे जो TAT से ही एक SRT बना के दी थी. दिस इज अ वेरी फेमस पिक्चर जो बहुत कैंडिडेट्स ने प्रैक्टिस की होती है. आई डोंट वांट टू मेंशन इट, बट उससे ही मेरे को डिफरेंट एसआरटीज बना के दी. दे पुट मी इन वेरियस सिचुएशंस वेयर दे वांटेड टू हैव different perspective of one story, one picture. So what I would say is when you're practicing, जब आप एक ही पिक्चर कर रहे हो तो आप उसकी 3-4 आइडिया कर लो. बिकॉज मेरे को वहां बैठ के समझ आया कि अच्छा ये चीज भी है, वो चीज भी है. एंड राइटली पॉइंटेड बाय गगन बिफोर अबाउट हॉबीज. एंड दिग्विजय ने जो एनसीसी के बारे में बोला था, देयर आई गॉट अ फ्यू इनसाइट्स दैट हॉबीज में मैंने कुकिंग लिखा था. आई डू कुक ऑन वीकेंड्स जब मैं फ्री होता हूँ. तो उन्होंने मेरे से बिरयानी बनवाई, सिराचा सॉस बनवाई, मायोनीज बनवाई. सो दे वांटेड टू check that I actually do those things. So maybe they had some kind of doubt in my psychology. But yes, that 1 hour was completely spent in a lot of PIQ, CIQ, a lot of rigorous things. He put me in different, because you were talking about psychology, he put me in a very different situation that my 12th score was not really great. So he put me in a situation that there's someone from IIT, triple IT having 99%. Why should we select you? तो एक different perspective था मेरा psych का, because I met the psychologist. So it's about how you process things and put it on paper. So I had the opportunity to meet psych, but no one gets it. So how well do you put it on paper is what matters a lot. That's my perspective as a fresher. And I was after my psych interview, I did not know how to react to things, because as a fresher, I went there and this was something which was completely new to me. I've never heard about this.
You were the first one to be
So
experienced.
it was something new.
Yes, ma'am. Now, what I will share, as most of the points were covered with by Gagan and Gav. मैं बस कुछ पॉइंट बताना चाहूंगा कि जैसे वी नो साइक इज अ टाइम बाउंड टेस्ट. तो आप 2 घंटे के अंदर ही आपका सारे चारों टास्क, टैट, वैट, एसआरटी एंड एसडीटी हो जाता है. तो यस, एज गर्ल सेड, प्रैक्टिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. कि आपको पहले प्रैक्टिस बहुत अच्छे से करके जानी है. प्रैक्टिस चाहिए, बट प्रैक्टिस में आपको क्या प्रैक्टिस करना है? स्टोरीज तो सब प्रैक्टिस कर लेंगे, बट एक राइट अप्रोच बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एज गगनदीप सेड कि आपको रियल लाइफ एक्सपीरियंस जो है वो आप के अंदर लिखोगे तो आपको स्टोरी ज्यादा अच्छी बनेगी. बट जनरली जो होता है, रियल लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस नहीं हो, अगर राइट डाउन नहीं हो पा रहे, वो होता है लैक ऑफ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन की वजह से. तो आपको इंट्रोस्पेक्शन बहुत अच्छे से करना है ना. उसके लिए आपको व्हाट यू कैन डू, यू कैन राइट डाउन थिंग्स, या फिर यू कैन राइट डाउन व्हाट एक्टिविटीज यू हैव डन इन योर लाइफ. तो अगर आपने वो नोट डाउन कर रखा है, जैसे मैं और गगन प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, हमने पॉजिटिव वर्ड्स का हमने इसे लिस्ट बना लिया था. ओके, एंड जो हमसे रिलेट कर रहे हैं, एज हम दोनों स्पोर्ट्स में थे, तो ठीक है, स्पोर्ट्स में है तो फिजिकल एक्टिविटी, हेल्थ, एंड्योरेंस, एजिलिटी, स्टेमिना, तो ये पॉजिटिव वर्ड्स का लिस्ट हो गया. तो हम वैट के अंदर फिर वही बस पॉजिटिव वर्ड्स एड ऑन कर देते थे आगे. एंड दैट इज ऑल्सो रिलेटिंग विथ आर PIQ. एंड सेम विथ टैट. जब भी आप टैट लिख रहे हो, स्टोरीज आप डायरेक्ट कोई भी स्टोरी सामने आके आप प्रैक्टिस करोगे, और अगर इफ इट इज नॉट इन अ राइट डायरेक्शन, फौज में अच्छी डायरेक्शन जरूरी है सबसे ज्यादा. इफ यू आर द फास्टेस्ट रनर और आप डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन में दौड़ रहे हो, तो फिर यू विल नॉट रीच द फिनिश लाइन. तो एक डायरेक्शन इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो इन अ राइट डायरेक्शन प्रैक्टिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, बट इन अ राइट डायरेक्शन. एंड ऑल्सो ऐसे ज्यादातर कैंडिडेट एसडीटी को इतना अहमियत नहीं देते हैं. But what I feel, SGT is also very important, because in my time, as I said, my guide Lieutenant Amit Gaur sir, he made me write SGTs. मतलब एक पेज पे ही पूरा एक पेरेंट्स ओपिनियन. तो मैं बहुत बड़े बड़े SGT मैंने लिखे, तो उससे मुझे इंट्रोस्पेक्शन में हेल्प हुई. तो इफ यू आर राइटिंग फॉर साइक ओनली, तो हार्डली एक पैराग्राफ में एक SDT हो जाती है, 2.5 पेज में SDT खत्म हो जाती है. बट व्हेन आई वाज प्रैक्टिसिंग, आई रोट इन अराउंड 4-5 पेजेस. तो मैंने बहुत सोच कर, मैंने पूरे रियल लाइफ पास्ट एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, रियल लाइफ इंसिडेंट्स हैं, वो सब मैंने उसके अंदर लिखे. और जब मैंने SDT किया, दैट हेल्प मी इन माय इंटरव्यू पार्ट ऑल्सो. उसके अंदर मेरा काफी हद तक इंटरव्यू कर, ओके माय पेरेंट्स फील दिस अबाउट मी, तो वो मेरा वहां से वीकनेस, व्हाट दे वांट टू इंप्रूव इन यू, वो सब कुछ मेरा SDT में कवर हुआ. और वो ही मुझे टैट की स्टोरीज में भी हेल्प किया. और दैट हेल्प मी इन दैट ऑल्सो. इंट्रोस्पेक्शन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
Okay. I mean, all the points are beautifully covered. But when it comes to a personal interview, that is one of my important segment, which I like discussing because there are so many different incidents, so many different situations I get to know, and especially if there are some initial attempt mistakes that you have committed. I really want to cover all of it in this discussion when it comes to the personal interview. And is there anything interesting that happened during the PI? So, what kind of experience do you have during the personal interview?
Ma'am, I would like to start. And my personal interview was on day two, and it was scheduled at 2:30 p.m., which was after psych we had in morning. We had breakfast, and then they said lunch karke aana for the personal interview. But then it kept on. The hours get on pushed because the interviews were slow, and my interview was finally at 7:45 p.m. at
Okay.
night, and the gap was there of around 3.5 hours, which is a solid gap. So at that moment I thought it will really have an impact what I do in this time. So I was trying to read a book in the waiting hall, but then soon I realized that nahi, isko to time lagega, because there were, like, my chest number was 6, so there were first, second, third, fourth, fifth, so it was taking a lot of time. So I went to the place where we stayed and I played table tennis those 3 hours. I remained calm. I made sure that, I stay in that rhythm. So that was a testing period for me, those 3.5, 4 hours. And when I went in the waiting room, I was pretty much confident that whatever happens will happen. I'll just go do my job and come and dekha jayega. With respect to interview, I was the only focus with me was respect to the 4 to 5 sets of CIQ and nothing more than that. There were a lot of sensitive questions, personal questions, cross questionings that because I am also from a purely civilian background, why particular OTA Chennai? Why didn't you try for other entries? Because and the genuine things I mentioned, that I never really wanted to join forces till my class 12. It was just those 3 years which made a shift in my mindset. And OTA was is really close to my place. So I had that. I went to OTA 4 to 5 times during my NCC tenure because that gave me an exposure that yes, Garv, you can go the other side as well.
Okay.
So I mentioned all these points, and there were a lot of other sensitive questions about my relationships and how things worked out, about my friends, how do I move in groups, how did I organize events, international conferences, national seminars, and like how sports had an impact on my life. So it was basically with what I've done, why I have done that. And it went for around 1 hour, 15 minutes. So my interview got over at night, 9 p.m. And specifically, I would mention that as I entered the room, I was asked the name of, meaning of my name and how did I prove it. And they asked me, why are you proud of yourself? So my name, meaning of my name is pride. So I did mention that sitting here in front of you, sir, gives me immense pleasure and pride. So he started laughing, and then we had a very good conversation. It was really it was an experience where I just thought that I'm talking to my elder brother. I talked with respect. I was really open, and I never became uncomfortable with any of his question. And there were a lot of questions that this was the first time I went to Prayagraj. So there were a lot of questions about Prayagraj in itself, because one day what all I did, where all I went, which temples I explored, what I ate. And it was something which I was expecting that, yes, if this question comes, I'll be able to answer it in this way. So here comes self-introspection with what Digvijay said. So this is what I felt as a fresher. And in only one experience, I got a lot of insights this way.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. If we talk about interviews, ma'am, interview is my favorite part. SSB के अंदर ऐसे तो मैं ज़्यादातर मैंने ग्राउंड वर्क किया. G2 इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, बट इंटरव्यू ऐसा है क्योंकि इसके अंदर जनरली आपको बहुत ज़्यादा सोचना पड़ता है, और आप सोचकर क्या बोल रहे हैं उसके ऊपर ही आपका नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन बनने के चांसेस काफ़ी हाई होते हैं. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इंटरव्यू के अंदर आपको थोड़ा सा स्मार्ट होने की बहुत ज़रूरत है, एंड उसके साथ आपकी क्लैरिटी ऑफ थॉट होनी चाहिए. क्योंकि इंटरव्यू स्टार्ट्स विद probing questions कि okay, where you come from, your place, meaning of your name, as Gaurav said. तो अब कैंडिडेट को एक आदत है, ठीक है, मीनिंग ऑफ योर नेम मुझे पता है, मैं बता दूंगा, प्लेस का मुझे मैं बता दूंगा, बट फिर यहाँ पे OLQ सेट ऑफ OLQs वाले क्वेश्चन आते हैं, यहाँ पे सच में आपको सोचकर बोलना है, और उस समय एक अंडर प्रेशर होता है कि ओके आई एम सिटिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ ऑफिसर. अब एज एनसीसी कैडेट्स हमने ऑफिसर्स के साथ मतलब वी वर इन कैंप, बहुत काम किया है, देखा है, तो ठीक है, उसके अंदर थोड़े आप कंफर्टेबल होते हो इंटरव्यू में. बट अगर कोई एक नया कैंडिडेट जा रहा है एज फ्रेशर, तो वो कंफर्टेबल नहीं हो पाता, और वो क्वालिटीज होते हुए भी, एग्जाम्पल्स होते हुए भी, वो उस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम में आपको बहुत एक्टिव रहना जरूरी है. अकॉर्डिंग टू मी, आपको आपके जो भी आंसर्स हैं कि आपको क्लैरिटी के साथ बोलना है, लॉजिक के साथ कहना है, क्योंकि आपके नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन उस आंसर पे डिपेंड करता है. तो इंटरव्यूज लाइक दैट ओनली, आपको जो भी कहना है काफी क्लैरिटी, काफी लॉजिक और काफी एक्सप्रेस करके कहना है. जनरली ऐसे नहीं होता, ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए अकॉर्डिंग टू मी कि आप वो आपको आपसे कुछ क्वालिटीज निकालना चाह रहे हैं, इंटरव्यू इज इंटरेस्टेड इन यू, बट आप बहुत ही वन वर्ड आंसर्स दे रहे हो. तो वो आपको रखना है कि आपको एक हेल्दी बैलेंस बना के रखना है कि मैं बहुत ज्यादा भी इलैबोरेट नहीं करूंगा, बहुत कम भी नहीं करूंगा, एक बैलेंस बना के रखूंगा. इतना इलैबोरेट करना है जो मुझे इलैबोरेट मैं बोल रहा हूँ उससे मेरे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन बनने के चांसेस है. तो मेरे को इतना ही बताना, हाँ मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इससे बनेगा, तो फिर यस, अब मेरे को अगर इसमें भी अगर मैं आई विल पुट वाई, then I can answer that also. So that is very very important from my side from interviews POV. And one thing also in interview, आपको हमेशा speak from your heart कि जो भी आपको that's why I got confident in my very first attempt. I was not expressing much. इंटरव्यू जो भी मुझसे पूछ रहे थे, मैं उनको एक्सप्रेस ज्यादा नहीं कर रहा था, मैं वन वर्ड आंसर दे रहा था, और वही एज अ फ्रेशर जब मुझ में प्रेशर आया तो आई कुड नॉट हैंडल दैट. और वो उस टाइम पे मैं हर ज्यादातर आंसर्स में सर आई एम नॉट श्योर, और अगर मुझे पता भी था तो मैं ये सोच रहा था कि यार एक आइडियल आंसर दे देता हूँ, बट देयर इज नथिंग लाइक एन आइडियल आंसर, है ना. तो अगर आपका खुद का एक्सपीरियंस है, आप में क्लैरिटी ऑफ थॉट है, इंटरव्यू आपसे आपको जानना ही चाह रहे हैं, आप उन्हें अच्छे से बताएं, और यस, एक्सप्रेस विथ क्लैरिटी, विथ लॉजिक, एंड अंडर प्रेशर ज्यादा नहीं आना, आपको एंजॉय करना है इंटरव्यू. दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. उसके अंदर ही आप ज्यादा क्वालिटी एक्सप्रेस कर पाओ.
Right.
यस मैम.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. As both of them has mentioned most of the points, लेकिन I will start with clarity and introspection. ये दो qualities are more important in the interview. How do when you introspect, then only you will have clarity. After that, I did PA. So I was asked this question कि आपने PCM क्यों किया, और जब PCM करना था तो फिर BA क्यों किया. So you will have to express it कि आपने डिसीजन क्यों लिया, उसके पॉजिटिव्स क्या रहे, और ये आपने सोच के लिया था या यू जस्ट टुक इट. एंड दैट विल कम थ्रू द इंट्रोस्पेक्शन. और द इंट्रोस्पेक्शन एक घंटे का काम नहीं है, एंड एक दिन का काम नहीं है. इट टेक्स a very long time. When I was first conference out, I am one time conference out, and जब मैं उसमें conference out हुआ, so after that for the next attempt, what I changed the most was the introspection. I didn't practice much after that. I keep questioning myself कि कहाँ पे कमी रह रही है, क्या मैंने decisions लिए वो क्यों लिए. या introspection will help you in the qualities. This is a basic question ki what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, and usually there used to be the similar strengths, that I am disciplined, I am good time management, punctual, but how do you express them, what well examples you put in front of the interviewer, that will create a difference whether you are going to be recommended or not. And that will come through the introspection, how well you know yourself. Once you will know yourself, then only you can give the examples in the relation of those qualities you have mentioned. And most of the questions will be around the PYQ and PIQ, sorry. एंड PIQ में आपने जो हॉबीज मेंशन किए हैं, जो लीडरशिप रोल्स आपने मेंशन किए हैं कि यू हैव बीन स्कूल कैप्टन और सीनियर अंडर ऑफिसर इन NCC, वहां पे what you have learned through your experiences, वहां पे आपने कैसे you have played a role in the others life, how do you make decisions, this will these questions will help you out. And ये मेरे answers cannot be similar to the some other guy, and
Right.
these answers need to be very unique. तभी then only you can make a difference from the other people. A person asked me, मेरा आंसर उसने सुना, मेरे स्ट्रेंथ सुने, मेरे वीकनेस सुने, एंड ही मतलब उसने वही सेम बोल दिया, तो that is not going to work for him. It might work for me because I will have examples, I can explain it well, I can confidently express it, but he could not. So he will have to learn from his experiences, introspect it, and then express it. And one more thing I would like to mention कि इंटरव्यू के दौरान you will have to hold on your breath. During interview आपकी breathing बहुत fast होने लगती है. You are thinking about कि I am going to be whether I am going to be recommended, I have to be recommended. Instead of assessing all that thing, you focus more on कि how I need to express, how I am going to answer, instead of just thinking whether I will be recommended or not, or this is an interview for my recommendation. Such thoughts will increase your breath, and उससे फिर thought process पूरा ही खराब हो जाता है, हमारे दिमाग में चल रहा होता है. So for that you will have to hold your breath, and then only you will you have to answer, and you will have to be very truthful about it. Either you experience, if you want, as I have mentioned, if you want to mention anything in your PIQ, then experience it, like and speak very truthfully. Like I was asked, I was recommended for FCAT as well, and that was my army interview after that. So I was asked if I will be recommended for if I will be merited for the FCAT as well and for the NCC as well, where will I be going? And so I told him, sir, my preference has always been to become a pilot in Air Force. Although all three forces are equally respectable and same qualities उनमें आती हैं, but my अगर मैं I would be becoming a pilot, then I will for sure going to be Air Force. So sir, then he said, why not then become a pilot in Army? Then I mentioned, then sir, I would not get a chance to fly a fighter aircraft in the Army, and in that case the Air Force will be my first preference, but still I was recommended there after being mentioning this answer. So you need to be very truthful about your answers.
Right.
And during a weakness I mentioned that I look unapproachable initially to the next person, as my friend told me, and he just between my answer, the interviewer mentioned, tell your friends that they are correct, that I look unapproachable initially. So though what weaknesses you mentioned, he would have analyzed in you. So if you will speak the truth, then he will understand that you know about yourself and how you are working on them. Yes.
Okay. Talking about GTO, because GTO is something which is containing 9 tasks, but I would not like to discuss 9 tasks because हर वीडियो में कहीं ना कहीं टास्क डिस्कस हो जाते हैं. बट हम कई बार अपने सबॉर्डिनेट्स के भी हम एक्शंस देखते हैं, उनके बिहेवियर एक्शंस देखते हैं कि वो कैसे बिहेव कर रहे हैं, और कई बार हमें पता होता है कि ये चीज़ उसके लिए नेगेटिव जा रही है या दिस इज नॉट गुड फॉर समबडी. Any such behavior action that you have observed in any of that one task you feel like discussing कि यहाँ पे उस कैंडिडेट की पोटेंशियल था बट उसने just because he acted in such a way that has come up negative for him. So anything particularly you want to highlight?
Yes, ma'am. As GTO के अंदर, as you mentioned, there are 9 tasks. उसके अंदर एक task है PGT, which is progressive group task. वो हर task के अंदर उसका level progress होते जा रहा है and it is increasing. तो जनरली एक ही दिन में 6 टास्क हो रहे हैं और अगले दिन वापस 3 टास्क अगले दिन आते हैं. ऐसा होता है कि फर्स्ट डे 5 to 6 टास्क हो जाते हैं. तो अब सब सेलेक्ट होने आए, सब ऑफिसर बनने आए वहां पे. तो जब जीटीओ सर आप पे प्रेशर बनाते हैं, जब एज अ ग्रुप आपको वर्क करना है बट यू आर स्टक समवेयर, और टाइम पे अगर आप पे प्रेशर बनाया जा रहा है, देन उस टाइम पे आपको वापस से एक्टिव हो जाना है. ज्यादातर इस टाइम पे पेशेंस लूज होता है कुछ कैंडिडेट्स का. तो यस, बिहेवियर इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आप बहुत ज्यादा आइडिया दे दोगे और आप सिलेक्ट हो जाओगे ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है, बट आप एक परफेक्ट बैलेंस बना के चलोगे. बिकॉज थिंक यू आर इन अ ग्रुप. तो आप अगर ग्रुप में हो तो आपको एज अ ग्रुप ही वर्क करना है. तो अगर किसी का बिहेवियर चेंज हो भी रहा है तो आपका बिहेवियर उसको देखकर चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए.
बिल्कुल.
And when I was in my second attempt, the first attempt for my Air Force, in that group, I was the fresher in repeaters because it was my second attempt, and rest repeaters were all of them were above 5 to 6 attempts. So two PRs were also there. So के अंदर I got recommend. I was only I only got recommendation on the last day 10 के group में से, and it was a very 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 good group. Generally GTO के अंदर I saw there कि कहीं ना कहीं एक कैंडिडेट के बिहेवियर की वजह से आसपास कैंडिडेट का बिहेवियर भी चेंज हो जाता है. अगर हो सकता है उसने जानबूझ के नहीं किया, हो सकता है उसका वे ही वैसा हो कन्वे करने का, तो है ना. तो आपको खुद का बिहेवियर चेंज नहीं करना है किसी के, ये सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. कुछ बिहेवियर जैसे ऐसा होता है कि जनरली आइडियाज के अंदर हो जाता है, स्पेशली इन रिपीटर्स, कि बहुत ज्यादा अटेम्प्ट हो गए हैं, बहुत ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस हो चुकी है, तो अगर आपको लग रहा है कि ठीक है मैं ही आइडिया लगा देता हूँ, तो फिर वो चीज गलत है कि अगर मैं ही लगाया जा रहा हूँ और अगर मैं किसी और को चांस नहीं दे रहा हूँ, ठीक है. और अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आपको नहीं भी आ रहा है तो लेट अदर पर्सन ट्राई. तो वो बहुत ज्यादातर ऐसे टास्क तब होते हैं जब ग्रुप में काम कर रहा हो, 2-3 लोगों का आइडिया आता है और फिर लग रहा है कि नहीं मैं पहले कर देता हूँ तो मेरे को पॉइंट मिल जाएगा, मैं सिर्फ ऑफिसर बन जाऊंगा. वैसे नहीं सोचना है. आपका मेन एम ये होना चाहिए हमें एज ए ग्रुप ये टास्क सॉल्व करना है. यस मुझे प्रेजेंट भी रहना है, उसके अंदर जो गलतियां नहीं करनी है, डोंट बी एट द बैक. एटलीस्ट आपको खुद की प्रेजेंस शो करनी है उधर. एटलीस्ट यू कैन हेल्प. कि कुछ मिथ्स जो मुझे लगता है ऐसा होता है कि अगर आप आइडिया से ही पार हो जाओगे, आप ज्यादा अगर रस्सी वस्सी नहीं बांधोगे तो भी काम चल जाएगा. बट अगर आप आइडिया कोई और लगा रहा है तो आप रस्सी बांध दो. तो इफ यू आर डूइंग समथिंग, यू आर प्रेजेंट देयर, तो दैट इज वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट. तो आपको बिहेवियर का बहुत अच्छे ध्यान रखना है. अगर किसी और कैंडिडेट का बिहेवियर चेंज हो भी रहा है तो आपका उसके अकॉर्डिंग चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए. अगर चेंज होना भी चाहिए तो इज इन अ पॉजिटिव मैनर, कि वो पूरी क्लास में समझ जाए कि हाँ नहीं हमें एज अ ग्रुप रहना है साथ में. जनरली इतना चेंज हो जाता है कि जैसे अभी हमारे रिसेंट अटेम्प्ट के अंदर इन इवेंट, जीटीओ सर वाज ट्राइंग टू से समथिंग एंड ग्रुप इतना ज्यादा डिस्कस कर रहा है आपस में कि उनकी आवाज हमें नहीं पहुंच रही है. बट हमें ये चीज पता लग गई थी क्योंकि हम उनके वी वर द नियरेस्ट वहीं पे थे. हमने ग्रुप को शांत किया, ओके सारे सेम होते हैं तो एटलीस्ट पहले गाइड इंस्ट्रक्शंस होते हैं, देन वी विल मूव फॉरवर्ड. तो आपको देख के बिहेवियर चेंज करना है. अगर सब एक जगह है, हमें टास्क की सॉल्व कर रहे हैं, सब सेम दिमाग लगा है, तो हमें उस जगह नहीं जाएगा जो बाकी चीजें छूट रही. हर टास्क में ओके इफ आई एम गोइंग फॉर ग्रुप डिस्कशन, यस नेक मूवमेंट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, फ्लुएंसी इज इंपॉर्टेंट, बोल्ड वॉइस इज इंपॉर्टेंट. तो ये हर टास्क में जाने से पहले ही सोच लेना है. अगर आप पहले ही रीडिंग कर लोगे तो आप जस्ट आपको उस समय आप कुछ मिस नहीं होगा. जनरली होता है कि या मैंने पूरा डिस्कशन एक तरफ देख के बोल दिया, मेरे लेफ्ट में जो 2 लोग थे उनको देखा ही नहीं, और ये अच्छे कैंडिडेट्स भी मिस कर देते हैं. तो हर टास्क से पहले आपका एक अप्रोच होना चाहिए. इन दिस टास्क ये गलतियां होती है, इनका मैं ध्यान रखूंगा, ये नहीं होगा, इससे मेरा बिहेवियर भी सही रहेगा और देन इट विल बी इजियर फॉर यू टू सी इट.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to add on to Digvijay. अभी तक हम साइक और इंटरव्यू आर द इंडिविजुअल टास्क, हम सेपरेटली एक एक पर्सन अपना अपना कर रहा है. बट इन जीटीओ वी आर डूइंग वर्क इन अ ग्रुप एंड देयर इज द ओनली सिचुएशन जहां हमें एक दूसरे से कंपटीशन फील होने लगता है. आवर ग्रुप लुक्स लाइक आवर कंपटीशन. But in my opinion, instead of उन्हें competition समझने की बजाय, you need to think them as a resource to for the process. It is not on the SSB में ऐसा कोई burden नहीं है कि he just need to recommend 1% or 2%. It can be 0 and it can be 4 5. In my last recommendation, we were 4 in our single group out of 10. And total number of recommendation was 6. So out of 6, the four people were recommended from a single group. So it is instead of thinking them as your competition, just take it as a group that you have to carry on with in all the tasks. And for all the tasks, you will have to look each task individually task समझेंगे, then only you will have a separate approach for each task. And the initial 4 tasks, the group discussions, GPE, and PGT, these are the basic tasks which creates a basic impression in the mind of GTO about your performance. So वो task में how do you perform will decide कि आगे how the GTO is going to respond towards you. हमारे हमारे ग्रुप में we were doing that was an amazing group discussion. Every time a person was speaking, all other were listening to her. Every single person got a chance to speak. Our GTO also mentioned that 15 minutes is a long enough time. Everyone will get enough time to speak and express their ideas. So, but once we keep on speaking all together, we do not listen anything. And in that case, वो हम अपने एक दूसरे को competition समझने लगते हैं और ना फिर हमारा होता है ना सामने वाले का. एंड फॉर अदर टास्क एज वेल ग्रुप में ग्रुप डायनामिक्स के थ्रू ही काम करना है. हाउ डू यू हैंडल जब सामने वाले का मूड चेंज हो रहा है, व्हेन ही इज बिकमिंग एग्रेसिव, व्हेन ही इज नॉट लिसनिंग यू, ही इज कंटिन्यूअसली टाइम अपनी रस्सी बांध रहा है, यू आर टेलिंग आइडिया लेकिन वो नहीं सुन रहा है. सो वहां पे हाउ do you respond, how do you handle those situation, that will be the impression on the GT. And one more thing I would like to mention कि ज्यादातर हम क्या सोचते हैं कि whether GTO is looking to us or not, वो हमें देख रहा है नहीं कर रहा है, वो हमें सुन पा रहा है नहीं सुन पा रहा है, whether हमारे ideas वहां तक पहुंच पा रहे हैं. Instead of that, try pushing the group ahead. You might not be visible at one point, but if you are continuously pushing group ahead, whether in discussion or in PGT or HGT, तो एक पॉइंट पे हो सकता है आप विजिबल ना हो, लेकिन सेकंड पॉइंट, थर्ड पॉइंट, लेटर ऑन यू विल बी फॉर श्योर विजिबल टू द जीटीओ. एंड वो जीटीओ को एक्सप्रेस करने की जरूरत नहीं है कि आई एम डूइंग दिस थिंग. इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट पुश योर ग्रुप, others might not be listening your point, then keep sharing with those who are listening about your point. So how do you work in group dynamics is the main idea of the group tasks. Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, with respect to GTO, as Digvijay rightly pointed that as he was a fresher, in my case also this was the thing, there were 6 freshers, 1 repeater and 1 hardcore repeater and 1 PR. So during the whole process of GTO, सब freshers ने repeater और PR को भगवान मान लिया था. GPA में उनको nominate करना, GD में उनको chance देना, तो freshers were taken aback. They took a step back कि उनको करने देते हैं, let them handle the group. So what I observed is the participation you make in GTO, the PGT, तुम किस तरीके से ग्रुप में एडजस्ट हो रहे हो. जैसे कुछ सिचुएशंस आएंगी जहां कोई 2 लोग ही काम करी जा रहे हैं, बट यू टेक इनिशिएटिव, गो देयर, आप उनसे एक सटल वे में बात करो, ग्रुप को साथ लेके चलो. हमारे ग्रुप में लड़ाई भी हो गई थी क्योंकि सारे फ्रेशर थे. फिर जब उन्होंने भगवान मान लिया था तो बाकी भक्तों में लड़ाई हो गई थी. सो देयर वर लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंसेस, बट व्हेन एक्टिविटीज लाइक GOR ये सब आई, तो when we came together, we understood that अच्छा इसका ये strength है, इसकी ये weakness है. So that helped us in other tasks. We motivated each other individual obstacle में कि यार कर लेना, ये ऐसा है वो वैसा है. Command tasks में पहले discussion हो जाती है कि कैसे we have to progress. So as rightly pointed by Gagan as well, the group dynamics is really important. And the participation in group, it should not be dominating. It should be in a very subtle way कि हाँ मैं हूँ, मैं मेरी presence दिखानी है, बट ये नहीं करना कि सिर्फ मैं ही हूँ. तो यू हैव टू हैव एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन द ग्रुप. यू डू समथिंग व्हिच इज USP. कि अगर मैं, मेरे ग्रुप में जैसे 8 लोग थे, तो मेरे को पता है आई डिड सम एक्टिविटीज, सम एक्शंस व्हिच नो वन एल्स कुड डू. सो दैट मेड अ डिफरेंस. एंड with respect to individual obstacle, because I had a lot of, I was working and I couldn't much focus on my individual obstacle part. So I would say that it really doesn't matter. It is just about the logic you apply, and all the other tasks, it's about how you take part, how do you participate in the group. And NCC has taught me a lot with respect to this. So GTO में मजा आया मेरे को 2 दिन, and it was something which made me develop my qualities, the process of GTO. And ground task, ground पे उतर के काम करना is something which is totally different and a different segment in SSB, which I don't think any other interview in our country has.
Okay.
So it was a really integral part of SSB, and it makes sure that it is the best place where an officer can show his qualities.
Right. So, welcome to the transformation which is going to be there in the academy, and I really wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks for watching the video, and let me know in the comment section below if you have any doubts. Follow for more such content. Jai Hind.